Well, I am still chirpy considering what I've had to do.
Yeah.
This is a kind of a movie I didn't want to make. So we are having to make a slight diversion from the Putts Corner video number 1, which you saw last week. So I am continuing to do those, but I thought I'd interject with this one because of the debacle that the government's caused.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it that anyway.
Yeah. There's something of an irony here in that the second year of dealing with COVID-19 last year, in spite of all the lockdowns, we got away to Germany and France. We had a lovely hot 2 weeks, felt very safe, got back.
Yep.
And this year, even though we've both been vaccinated, the dog's dinner that is foreign travel and the confusion around it and the testing around it, we've just had to make a decision not to go.
Now, on the double vaccination thing, there's an NHS app, and if you hang around towards the end of this video, I'm going to go into that, not in great and granular detail, but just show you what it is, how it works, and anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you who haven't been vaccinated, or you're an anti-vaxxer, or for whatever reason can't have it, or don't believe morally in a COVID passport, you're going to have one anyway.
See, that's another debacle about this government that's making me laugh. It's not called passport, is it?
No, on the app it's called COVID Pass.
Port.
Pass without the port. It's a pass without the port, isn't it?
This is what you're going to need to prove to get into events and go abroad and all the rest of it. Do you remember all the hassle they were saying, we're not going to have one? Well, guess what we've got?
Got one.
Yeah, but at least the app is free and the app does talk to your GP. Anyway, you'll see later on. So, yes, so we have made the decision to opt for Plan B, haven't we?
Yeah. Luckily, we had a Plan B because Steve is, as you probably know by now, if you watch our programme, Steve is spreadsheet man. So he always had a Plan B, and we've opted for Plan B. So no France this year, no Eurotunnel. It's Devon all the way.
Well, I'm thinking, see that O'Leary chap, Ryanair, he's in my head now.
Michael O'Leary.
Yeah, he's in my head now, and I just saw the brief interview with him yesterday. It just made me chuckle to death, and how true it was, where we got this green, and we have this red, and then we had this stupid bloody you can't amber, maybe not go type place in the middle, and now we have another one, which is you green, but we might stick you in amber. So, you know. And the problem is, all the places you want to go to, France and Germany and places like that, they're all on the amber list anyway.
Yeah.
And the reason why we had to make that decision was you can still go, because in amber, that's the stupidity of amber, isn't it? You can go, but we suggest you don't. Well, it's not that. It's either you can or you can't. But anyway, so we could have went, but there's all the testing that you had to do, and the cost of all the testing, and what sort of impact that was going to have, on your holiday, and our spending money would have gone because on all these ruddy tests.
Yeah, and even if you have the tests, it's clear from this amberish that if everything changed suddenly, we could suddenly have to quarantine in France if France changed the rules. It isn't a worry for us quarantining when we get home.
That's another problem as well, in so much that the British government might say, okay, you can now go, you're on the green list. All of a sudden, they might do that on the 19th of July, which is the week before we're supposed to go. But what if France don't let you come in?
Or they say, as was the case, they say, right, okay, when you get to France, you've got to quarantine at your point of entry for 7 days, which we definitely can't do.
And there was curfews as well.
Yeah.
So, so we decided not to bother.
Not bothered. So
we're off to Devon, South Devon. Well, maybe it's Cornwall, actually. It's right on the border, anyway, once again. We're down there for 2 weeks, and we'll obviously take you on that trip instead.
I'll tell you what, though. You will have seen from our Putts Corner one where we left at 9 o'clock in the morning and then sat on the car park of the M5 for 4 or 5 hours.
We're not doing that.
We won't be doing that this time. We will be leaving earlier.
Yes, and maybe a lot earlier. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. So if we have a look at what actually happened, we had one site booked via the CCC club in Canterbury, but they're ready for the train for the next day. What they did was said, and what we can't refund, and this is another thing that makes you laugh, but it turned out all right in the end. They would refund if all of it, because I only paid a deposit anyway, but they'd refund that if I was 31 days or more before I went. But we were 30 days, right? So therefore they would refund the money.
Which is really unfair because we don't get 30 or 31 days notice from the government.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot of money, but actually it's not very flexible of them, given that our government isn't giving us 30 days notice or 31 or 60 days notice to change our plan. So, you know, that deposit's like whoop, gone.
Well, it hasn't gone. So we've actually kept that because what we've done is we've moved it because they allowed me to move at zero cost. So we just moved it to later on in October. Now, the majority of the booking, as in the rest of it, was through the other club, the CMC club, and that was the train and all the sites, all bar one night, right? Now the caravan and motorhome club was slightly more flexible, and they just said, "I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just cancel the whole lot and you get a refund." Right? That's easy. So they're refunding the money. But then don't forget, it's going elsewhere because it will be going on the 2 weeks holiday we're going to have in the UK instead.
It's still going to cost us, isn't it? It's still going to cost
us.
us.
Now, Eurotunnel are the only thing which is different out of all that because they don't actually refund. What they do is you buy a ticket from them, and it's not the type of one we had anyway. You buy a ticket from them, and it lasted a whole year.
So we always knew with the Eurotunnel that you couldn't get your money back. So we've moved it to the end of the year. We'll get an e-voucher as a credit towards booking next year.
Yeah.
And then we pay any difference if they put their prices up.
Which they almost certainly will.
Yeah, they almost certainly will.
But it won't be that much. We paid 99% of it anyway.
And we knew that was the deal when we booked, and we were happy with that.
So the only downside now is we've got to wait until October at the NEC probably is when the Caravan and Motorhome Club relaunch all their sites for the following year. So we have to wait till then, and then we can go through the process of booking it all again.
There is one bright spot in all of this though. It means I don't have to go to the site in France that I've always really hated and thought was awful, called Le Brevedon. We don't have to go there. I do not have to endure that place, even for one
There is another
night.
Brucey bonus, actually. I was only just thinking about this morning. We're not going to get eaten to death by bugs.
Oh, you never get eaten to death, Steve, by bugs. I get eaten to death by bugs, don't I? And end up... I mean, not only do I get hay fever, which is probably why I look a little bit sleepy today, but when we're in France, the hay fever's gone, but the bugs like me, so I usually end up pretty stippled.
Yeah.
All down my legs,
don't they? Dinner
they
time.
Do, don't they? They get their teeth out.
Babe, get the knives and forks on. Here we go, like Fiona's back. Food time! Call in the lads. So, yeah.
Yeah, but just my luck. They'll have them in Devon and Cornwall this year.
Nah. Well, the west coast of Scotland, they do up there gnats.
Yeah.
Anyway, another story. But I think... that's it, really. Just a quick interlude update as to what's going to happen. And, we'll enjoy it anyway. And, still Brucey bonus, no kids.
Yes.
Right.
Just Steve and I, because we'd planned to do all of that and the confusion about whether children could actually travel, and we've got 2 adult children at home. We've literally just said, you can still stay at home if you want to.
Yeah, and I was thinking it. You said if you want to, and now that we're staying in here, you wait and see. Yeah, we won't be alone all the time.
They won't want to come. I promise you, they won't want to come.
Well, the queue's a little bit shorter this time than it was last time, and I've just missed a torrential downpour, which is good. Well, that's it. We now have 2 jabs. I suppose this time it has got my name on it. but as I say, it could be anybody's that card. What they did do was recommend the NHS app, not the COVID app, the NHS one, which links to your doctor, and apparently that will give you evidence of the COVID jabs. So we'll download that and see what happens. Okay, here we go, downloading. As you can see down the bottom there, there's the old COVID app, which I've got, and this is the new one, which I'll just open now. I don't know my NHS log on, or I've probably got it on some paperwork, but I bet there's a way to get around that. It's quite a useful app actually. Prescriptions, I can see my health records and all the rest of it. As I say, I don't know my details, so I'll log on via email. And you can see down the bottom there, no, I don't know my number, continue another way, which is what I'll select. And then you need to prove who you are. So how do we do that? So we do that with a bit of paper, either a passport or driving license or whatever. I'll choose the driving license because I have that in my wallet. That's easy to get to. And then upload a photo of it. Now it's also fairly intuitive in so much that it knows that it's an Apple iPhone that I'm using. So it's saying, right, you can, based on that, you can use your face. So I will. Now this time I've spun over to the iPad, and it's also got a camera, Face ID, off you go, and in it trots. Now I can actually, I'll blur out my details at the top there, but you can see check your COVID vaccine record. So I click on that button and it produces the one vaccine that I took in March. And so we had a second jab in May, so we'll see what's happened to the records this time. Go back into it, and there's the other one. And so we'll spin back onto the iPhone because there has been an update. We now have a name change and slightly more different features. It's called a COVID Pass. So I'm going to select the travel option at the bottom here. You can do event trials as well if they're doing that. And then you can select whether or not to show it on the phone or download a PDF copy or receive a copy via email. So I'm going to choose the app on the phone first. Now as you can see, you're now presented with a barcode. And also it tells you at the bottom there that these have an expiry date now. So that's July the 25th. And also you can see there's my evidence of my same 2 jabs. Also, just to see what you get, I chose the option to have it delivered via email. So I selected that to download. There you go, and you'll see a PDF appearing down the bottom left hand side. I open that particular item up and you get the same barcode which you had on the app on the phone, with the same expiration date on the bottom of it. What is quite nice though is that when you go and have a look at the bottom of this screen, you get a whole load more detail on the vaccinations that you've had. Cool. So all it remains for me to do is to say thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and hit the little bell, and I'll get back to editing part number 2.